Whew, people, we have made it to the third trimester, finally, after what feels like so long. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the different doctor's appointments I have had up to this point, what to expect from a glucose test, and also what to expect if you're in a car accident in your third trimester. Let's get into it. If you're new here, welcome. Hi, my name is Jenny. I am a teacher, a doctoral student, and a mom of a 14-month-old named Alice, and also expecting baby number 2 in July. As you can see, I am in my third trimester officially now, and boy, am I already ready to be done. So the first thing I wanted to talk about was appointments that I have had recently and then I will have upcoming. So one of the ones that people will tend to scare you about if you have not had it before is the glucose screening test. So basically what the glucose test is to test for gestational diabetes. This is so important because it can actually cause a lot of problems for you and your child if you are undiagnosed and not treated for gestational diabetes. So even though it's a test that a lot of people don't like, it's very necessary for your own health. And I'm here to tell you that I promise it's not that bad. What you're gonna be doing is you're gonna be drinking a little drink that looks like this, and they ask you to drink it very quickly. And as soon as you finish the whole drink, you're going to go sit or maybe see your OB during that time for an hour, and then they're going to draw your blood to test your glucose levels. Now, as far as what you should eat beforehand, every hospital, doctor's office is different. Mine allowed me to eat, but they suggested eating high protein, low carb stuff. So I just had some eggs before I went in for my glucose test, and I passed. Yay! If you don't pass, don't freak out. They're gonna test you again with a 3-hour test. Now that's not fun because then you drink the drink again and then they draw your blood every hour. So that's what to expect if you don't pass. As far as doctor's appointments go, as of the third trimester, you're gonna start seeing your OB every 2 weeks. So for me, because I saw my OB at 26 weeks, he had me wait 3 weeks, and then I'm gonna actually see him next week. So I'll be seeing him every 2 weeks starting then. As I mentioned, I will be having a repeat C-section if I don't go into labor early. I've been cleared to try for vaginal delivery if I go into labor early, but I just decided for peace of mind and to make sure I don't have uterine rupture because there's not 18 months between my 2 pregnancies, then I'm just gonna go that route. So if you're also going that route, I'll put a link up above for what to expect with a C-section. So let's talk about some symptoms that I've been having and that you might be having too if you were also 28 weeks pregnant. So the most frustrating one for me is one that kind of compounds with other stuff, which is fatigue and insomnia and just not being able to sleep at all. Something that's really annoying about the fatigue and the insomnia is the fact that in addition to lying down and not being able to fall asleep because everything hurts, is the fact that I have started dealing with restless leg syndrome in the third trimester. If you don't know what restless leg syndrome is, it makes it feel like your legs are tingling, especially when you're lying down and you have a constant need to move your legs. Now, if you're 28 weeks pregnant, you probably know moving your legs constantly is going to make it very hard to sleep. Speaking of sleeping, one thing that's really keeping me from sleeping lately has been pretty excruciating hip pain. I have hip pain probably right around where your hip bone meets your pelvic bone. Right around that area is where my hip pain is, and it's bad. So every time I try to turn over to flip to the other side, it wakes me up because it hurts. This is not the first time this has happened. I had it happen with my first pregnancy too. I'm not surprised, but just disappointed. Something else that's frustrating about the insomnia is that I've been taking Unisom, 1 pill of Unisom, so like a half dose of Unisom, and that has stopped working. That doesn't work anymore. The reason I only take 1 is because of the fact that I have to get up so early because I'm a teacher. I get up around 6:15 to make sure that my daughter is fed and all set before I leave for work in the morning. Luckily, I only have 3 weeks left of school, so I'm trying really hard to make it to the finish line, but I am struggling. I am struggling. Another very annoying side effect of third trimester is reflux. I actually have not really had much issues with reflux before now, other than, you know, first trimester nausea, of course, that's pretty common, but I've had bad issues with reflux now. So now I have to be careful not only what I eat, but how much I eat. I have taken some Tums for it, and that sometimes helps, but not really that much. I think basically in the third trimester, you just gotta survive. Something else I'm starting to encounter too is edema. Edema is basically your body swelling because you are pregnant. So I can't wear my wedding rings anymore right now because my fingers will not fit them, and I'm scared that they'll cut them off when I have my C-section if I continue to try to wear them. So for now, I just have bare hands and I'll hopefully get to wear them after I have delivered my child. My feet also look a little bit like balloon animals, not quite as bad as they were my first pregnancy, but I'm sure it's gonna get worse. Another symptom that you might be experiencing, which is very common, is lower back pain. I do have lower back pain. Usually it's when I've been standing too long or when I am lying down. And I know you're not supposed to sleep on your back, but listen, sometimes I wind up rolling onto my back in the middle of the night, and it's the only way I can sleep. However, when you do that, and then you wake up and you try to get out of bed, I literally will stand up and I'll have to like pause for a second because it's so painful. Baby girl, it started to get a little bit heavy, clearly, because she's crushing my spine. Speaking of baby girl, let's talk about the fact that I was in a car accident at 28 weeks pregnant. It was scary, I'm not gonna lie. The car accident itself was not super terrible, but the act of being in a car accident when you are 28 weeks pregnant is terrifying, especially for me because I have a history of preterm labor. I was so scared of something happening. So long story short, how my accident happened, I was stopped waiting to turn left at an intersection. A teen driver behind me was not paying attention and did not notice that I was stopped to turn left, even though I had a turn signal on, and slammed into the back of my car. So he did put his brakes on, so I want to say it was probably no more than 10 to 15 miles an hour that he actually hit me, and it actually pushed me across the lane into oncoming traffic. Luckily my car rolled into a turn lane, so I was kind of out of real oncoming traffic. It was raining outside and I got out of the car and I was just like, oh my gosh, what has happened? So I have the EMTs come just look at me, and I didn't want to go in the ambulance to the hospital because I didn't feel like that was necessary. I had them check my blood pressure and I just had them, you know, monitor my vitals just to double check. And so they said everything looked normal. I didn't go that night because I still felt movement from my daughter. I still wasn't bleeding. There were no contractions. So I just felt like, you know what? I'm just gonna wait, which might have been risky, to be honest. I probably should have called the second that my OB opened, and they said, okay, come on in. So what they were looking for when I went into the OB was to check to see if I had had a placental abruption. And I'll put a description over here of what a placental abruption is. It can happen with any car accident, though. It doesn't have to be a severe one. It can be a pretty minor one. So if you're in a car accident and you're pregnant, make sure you call your OB to get checked out. But luckily, when they did the ultrasound, everything looks good. My cervix looks good. The placenta looks perfectly fine. And you know what? The added bonus of having this nightmare of a week meant that I got extra pictures of my little girl. I'm so excited. She was just chilling with her hand in her mouth. I'll put a picture right here so that you can see what she looked like. It's pretty cute. So the aftermath of that, went to my OB, got checked out, everything looked good. But I will say they did give me some pregnancy safe muscle relaxers for my neck. I had quite a bit of neck pain. The muscle relaxers helped a lot, and I liked that I got them from my OB because I knew that they were pregnancy safe. As far as upcoming appointments go, I have 2 next week because I am considered high risk because I delivered my first daughter at 34 weeks. I will put a link up here of her birth story if you're curious about how that all went down. I have my high risk OB next week and I have my regular OB next week because you see both of them. I know that my high risk OB will be measuring my cervix to see if it has thinned. That is a sign of potential preterm labor, and if that happens, I'll get progesterone shots. And I'll see my regular OB to get my blood drawn to check to make sure I'm not anemic. Are there any symptoms that you've been having that I haven't been having? Or are there any symptoms that I've been having that you haven't been having? I want to know how you are feeling, how you're surviving all of this during this crazy year, and just how generally your pregnancy's been going. Please let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to know. And I'd also love to know if you're having issues with insomnia, how in the world did you fix it? Because I am out of ideas right now and I am desperate for sleep. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. I'm going to be posting all sorts of pregnancy videos as well as developmental milestones for my 14-month-old and my newborn once she is done, since I am a teacher and I'm very interested in making sure that they can do everything that they can and that I do everything I can as a parent to make sure they're set up for success. I appreciate you watching and I will see you next time. Take care.